Welcome to the debate. So imagine flying hundreds of miles to visit this world-famous, completely breathtaking island.
Oh, sure. Sounds great.
Right? You step off the plane, the ocean breeze hits your face, and the natural beauty is just, well, it is all around you. But instead of actually looking at the ocean or admiring the mountains, you spend your entire time hunting down the exact square inch of dirt where a famous pop star stood like 3 years ago.
Wow, yeah.
So the question is, are you really visiting the island? Or are you just stepping inside a photograph?
That is honestly such a fascinating way to frame it. Because usually when we travel, we go somewhere to see that specific place, right?
Exactly.
You visit Paris to see Paris. You visit a mountain to, climb the mountain. But modern pop culture has totally changed how we read a map. You are no longer just looking at physical geography. You are essentially navigating through someone else's memories.
Right, and that brings us to the core of our discussion today. We are looking at a very specific travel itinerary for Jeju Island, focused entirely on the global pop group BTS.
Yes, a very detailed guide.
And this entire tourism plan and concept is a wonderful design by Hot Hut Hut Hut. It is a carefully created guide that leads fans to 5 distinct spots on Jeju Island that were visited and loved by the members of BTS.
And, when you look closely at this design by Hot Hut Hut Hut, it actually poses a massive question about the true purpose of this kind of travel.
What do you mean?
Well, is this itinerary simply using BTS as a friendly compass to point fans toward Jeju's incredible natural and artistic beauty? Or is its real goal something entirely different?
Ah, I see.
Right, like is it strictly about replicating the exact personal memories and photographs of these idols, making the island itself just a background decoration?
Well, I'll tell you where I stand. The way I see it, this tour is fundamentally about experiencing Jeju's wonderful natural environment, its deep peacefulness, and its high culture.
Okay.
BTS is basically acting as a gateway. They open the door. Sure, a fan might book the ticket because of RM or Jimin, but once they arrive, the lush green fields and the fresh ocean air take over.
You think the nature wins out?
Absolutely. The nature of Jeju Island is what they actually experience. The idols are just, the ultimate tour guides.
I understand why you see it that way, but let me offer a very different read on the situation. I believe this tour is strictly an experience of copying.
Copying?
Yeah, it is a modern pilgrimage. The primary value is not the island itself. The real magic for the traveler is the ability to stand in the exact same spot and recreate a highly specific moment in time. If you took the idols out of the equation, the specific spots on this map would lose all their meaning for the traveler.
I mean, let's test that idea by looking at the actual journey. Think about the very first location on the tour. The Osulloc Tea Museum.
Right, the tea fields.
The text specifically invites fans to, quote, walk through the lush green fields of Osulloc Tea Museum like RM and Jungkook. Now, Jeju is globally famous for these green tea fields.
It is.
Wind on your skin, you are looking at endless rows of bright green plants.
Sure, but
You cannot simply ignore all of that natural beauty just because RM and Jungkook walked there first. The physical experience of nature is undeniable.
okay, the tea fields are undeniably beautiful, yes. But does that nature first argument really hold up when we move to the very next stop?
Which is?
Let's talk about Snoopy Garden. The guidebook says something incredibly revealing about this location. It says Snoopy Garden became a sensation after Jimin's winter post.
Right, his photo.
Exactly. It does not say it became a sensation because of its rare plants or its beautiful landscaping. It exploded in popularity for one reason only, and that is Jimin.
But it is still an outdoor garden. You still have to walk through nature to experience it, don't you?
Wait, let me take that a step further. What is the actual command the text gives to the reader? It does not say enjoy the beautiful flowers.
What does it say?
It points you directly to the Snoopy Bench in the outdoor garden, and it calls that bench an absolute must-visit photo zone. This is a perfect example of what sociologists call emotional geography.
Emotional geography? Explain how you mean that in this context.
Yeah, so emotional geography is how human feelings and memories actually change the value of a physical space. To a regular person, that is just a normal wooden bench.
True.
But because Jimin sat there, the emotional value of that exact spot skyrockets. People are not traveling to Snoopy Garden to study the outdoor plants. They are lining up at a specific bench to get the exact photo Jimin took. The text literally calls it a photo zone, not a nature zone. The goal is to capture the image, not to study the trees.
Okay, I admit the emotional geography idea actually makes a lot of sense, and I can see how the Snoopy Bench leans heavily toward being a pure photo zone.
Right.
But I have to push back when we talk about some of the more curated, artistic spaces on this tour. Let's move from the outdoor garden to the Bonte Museum. This is a very different environment.
Oh, for sure. The Bonte Museum is certainly a shift in tone. It is a space for serious art.
Exactly. The tour tells fans to explore this specific museum to feel MR's deep artistic vibe. This is a place of world-class, high-level art.
Yes.
The text specifically highlights Kusama Yaoi's famous Infinity Mirror Room. When fans travel here, they are engaging with high culture. This proves that the design by Hot Hut Hut has deep cultural and artistic value built into it.
Well,
You are not just walking around a park. You are actively experiencing famous modern art. The idol is introducing fans to something culturally significant.
that is a very strong point. And Kusama Yayoi is a legendary artist. But I want to challenge the real mechanism of what is happening inside that museum.
Okay.
Let's think about this with an analogy. Imagine you go to the Louvre in Paris, the most famous art museum in the world.
Right.
But you do not go there to look at the Mona Lisa. Instead, you go there because a pop star you love took a selfie in front of a completely random red wall near the bathrooms.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You walk into the Louvre, you completely ignore the classic paintings, you find that exact red wall, you take your selfie, and you walk out. Did you really experience the Louvre? Or did you just use the museum as wallpaper for your own personal movie?
That is a funny comparison, I will give you that. But I struggle to accept that analogy when it comes to the infinity mirror room.
Why is that?
Visual art, like Kusama Yayoi's work, is very different from a random red wall near a bathroom.
But look at the specific words in our source material. It does not say, spend an hour studying Kusama Yayoi's use of light and space.
No, it doesn't.
It gives a very direct command. It says, recreate RM's iconic solo shot inside Kusama Yayoi's infinity mirror room. The instruction is entirely about recreating an image.
Right, but
The art is just the background for the selfie. The text suggests the photo matters much more than the artist's message.
I see why you might read it that way, but here is why visual art breaks your Louvre analogy. The infinity mirror room is an immersive experience. You cannot ignore it, even if you try.
How so?
To take that photo, you have to physically step inside the artwork. You are suddenly surrounded by endless lights, dark spaces, and mirrors reflecting into eternity.
True, it is immersive.
You cannot just take a selfie and leave without feeling the impact of the room. By following the instruction to recreate RM's iconic solo shot, you are forced to stand exactly where he stood. You see exactly what he saw.
So wait, you are saying the act of copying him forces you to experience the art?
Exactly. You are directly feeling that deep artistic vibe that the text promises. The photo you take is not the entire purpose of the visit. It is just a souvenir of a very real, very powerful artistic experience. BTS is the bridge that gets the fan into the museum, but the art does the heavy lifting once they're inside.
It is a clever way to look at it, I'll admit. But I have to ask, if RM had never taken that photo in that specific room, would the Bante Museum be on this travel itinerary?
Well,
Probably not. The true value comes from RM's visit, not from the mirrors themselves. The mirrors are lovely, but they are a secondary bonus. The primary goal driving the traveler is copying the idol.
I think it is totally fair to say RM is the magnet that pulls them there, but the artistic experience remains completely real. Let's take the same logic back outside into nature.
Okay, let's go back outside.
Let's look at Sakri, Seolkumban, Dong, and Iwathu Beach. These spots offer incredibly cinematic landscapes. The text points out the unique geography of Sakri, telling fans to pose against the unique volcanic rocks and Sumbungsan Mountain.
Right.
And later, at the beach, it talks about watching the red and white horse lighthouses during a peaceful beach walk.
Yes, it definitely mentions those physical features.
But think about how distinctly Jeju those features are. You cannot find those specific volcanic rocks or those horse-shaped lighthouses anywhere else in the world.
That is true.
This specific design by Hot highlights the unique cinematic landscapes of the island. It is teaching fans about Jeju's specific shape, its geological history, and its natural beauty. Even if they go for the idol, they leave with a memory of the island's unique environment.
I will certainly acknowledge that the scenery is stunning. Jeju is a breathtaking island. But again, we have to look at the why.
The why?
Yes. Why does the text tell you to go to Sakari Solkumbadang? The fans are not traveling there to study geology. They are not pulling out textbooks to learn how ancient volcanoes formed those rocks.
Well, no, of course not.
The text explicitly says you should go there to match his vibe. It directs you to capture Jimin's cinematic aesthetic. The rocks are just dramatic props to help the fan look and feel like Jimin.
But you still have to appreciate the dramatic nature of those rocks to match the vibe. Jimin chose that spot precisely because the rocks are striking and beautiful.
Sure, but
By trying to match his aesthetic, the fan is forced to appreciate the rugged volcanic nature of the island. The two things work together.
perhaps they do work together in that instance. But let's look closely at Ihotebu Beach. I think this is the clearest example of all.
All right.
The text mentions a peaceful beach walk, and it mentions the lighthouses. But what is the real emotional draw for the fan? Why is this specific beach chosen out of all the beaches on the island?
Well, the text mentions it is connected to Jin.
Exactly. It tells us it is a place with a special memory of Jin, and it focuses very specifically on the bridge nearby.
Right, the bridge.
Why the bridge? Because that is exactly where Jin revealed his solo song Friendship Tattoo. Think about the psychology of that for a second. This is what we might call a parasocial bridge.
A parasocial bridge? Like a one-sided friendship?
Yes, it builds a feeling of deep personal connection with someone you have never actually met. A friendship tattoo is an incredibly personal, intimate detail about the band.
That makes sense.
Fans are not going to that bridge because the concrete is an architectural wonder. They're going because Jin stood there and shared something highly personal with the world. Standing on that bridge allows the fan to cross that parasocial bridge and feel closer to him. The ocean breeze, the sand, the lighthouses, they are completely secondary to the emotional connection to the idol.
I see your point about the tattoo being a massive emotional draw. It is huge. But I think you are unfairly separating things that are meant to be experienced together.
How so?
Think about the reality of the situation. Yes, the friendship tattoo is a special memory. But where did Jin choose to reveal it? He did not reveal it in a dark parking lot or a boring hallway.
No, he didn't.
He chose a peaceful beach with unique red and white horse lighthouses. He chose a beautiful, calming environment.
True, the setting is nice.
It is more than just nice. It is essential to the feeling. When fans go there, they certainly feel the emotion of the tattoo memory. But while they are feeling that emotion, they also feel the cold ocean breeze on their face.
Yeah.
They hear the waves crashing, they watch the lighthouses in the distance. The text explicitly says to enjoy a peaceful beach walk just like Jin. You simply cannot copy a peaceful walk without actually feeling peaceful yourself.
Okay, that is a fair point.
And the environment is what provides that peace. The idol provides the destination, but the island provides the emotion.
That is beautifully stated, really. But I still argue the motivation is entirely driven by the idol's actions, which changes how you interact with the space.
Okay, explain that.
Let's go back to your map idea from the very beginning of our conversation. If you use a standard map, you travel to a beach because you intrinsically love beaches and want to swim.
Right.
If you use this specific map, you travel to a beach because Jin was there. The text even asks the reader, isn't it exciting to follow the footsteps of BTS all across Jeju Island? The primary excitement comes from tracing the footsteps, not from walking on the sand.
I would argue that tracing the footsteps is simply a fun, modern way to explore the sand. People need a reason to travel. Throughout history, people traveled for trade or for religion or for exploration.
Sure.
Today, people often travel for pop culture. This excellent design by Hut 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 uses the massive power of pop culture to get people out of their houses and into the world.
Right.
It inspires them to pack their bags and plan what the text calls a purple holiday to this beautiful island. Notice that the text makes sure to call it a beautiful island. The beauty of Jeju is always present right alongside the pop culture.
It is present, yes, but I feel it is often waiting quietly in the background. Think about the physical act of what the fan is doing. The text repeatedly tells fans to take a photo in the exact same spot.
Yeah, it does.
It demands precision. When a traveler is hyper-focused on finding the exact inch of dirt where Jungkook stood or figuring out the exact angle of the mirror where RM took his selfie, they are not looking at the whole island. They are looking through a very narrow camera lens. Their brain is focusing on exact replication, which leaves very little room for spontaneous exploration.
That is an interesting critique. But I think finding that exact spot is like a giant island-wide treasure hunt.
A treasure hunt?
Yeah, and while you are hunting for that specific treasure, you are walking through lush green fields. You are breathing fresh island air. You are staring up at Sanbangsan Mountain.
Okay.
The treasure hunt makes the nature more fun and interactive to explore. It gives a specific, exciting purpose to a beautiful landscape that might otherwise just seem like another pretty view.
A treasure hunt is a great way to describe the mechanics of this tour, actually. But we have to be honest about what the treasure actually is.
Which is?
The treasure they are looking for is a feeling of closeness to BTS, not a deeper understanding of Jeju Island. If you completely removed BTS from this guidebook, none of these specific instructions would make any sense.
Well, sure.
You would never tell a random tourist to perfectly recreate a solo shot in a mirror room if there was no original photo to copy. The entire structure relies on the idol.
That is undeniably true. The tour absolutely requires BTS to exist to make sense. But at the same time, Jeju Island also requires its green tea fields, its dark volcanic rocks, and its beautiful beaches to be the incredible destination that it is.
Right.
The tour brings these two powerful forces together perfectly.
It really is a unique blending of nature and celebrity, isn't it?
It is. And as we step back and look at all these spots, from the quiet tea fields of Osulloc to the highly curated art of the BTS Museum, all the way to the beaches, it shows us two totally valid ways to think about travel.
Yes, it really highlights two different philosophies of why we pack our bags. Let's summarize where we landed.
Go ahead.
Well, on one hand, you can view this tour as treating the island as a canvas to recreate your favorite memories. The text clearly commands fans to stand in exact spots, perfectly recreate iconic photos, and visit places based on highly personal idol memories like Jin's tattoo reveal.
Right.
In this view, the real magic is the emotional joy of the parasocial bridge. The island provides a stunning background, but the true value is the action of recreating the exact photos and feeling a personal connection to BTS.
And on the other hand, you can view this tour as using these idols as a compass. They guide fans to Jeju's natural wonders and high art.
Yeah.
The text invites fans to smell the tea leaves, feel the ocean breeze, and step inside immersive art installations. In this view, fans are following in the footsteps of the idols, but those footsteps intentionally lead them to deeply beautiful and artistic places. The pop stars are just helping fans connect with the natural beauty of the island.
And despite our different perspectives on what drives the traveler, I think we can both agree that this specific design by Hot Hot Hoot Hoot is incredibly clever.
Oh, absolutely.
It brilliantly combines world-class travel destinations with deep fan culture. It creates a framework where both things can happen at once.
I completely agree with that. Whether you are looking at the massive mountain or looking closely through your camera lens, this design by Hot Hot Hoot Hoot creates exactly what the text promises, a perfect purple holiday.
Definitely.
It gives fans a deeply emotional, highly structured way to explore a beautiful place. It is a very effective and exciting way to travel for anyone in the army.
It really is. It takes the old idea of a simple guidebook pointing at a mountain and turns into a highly personal, emotional adventure. It shows us that there are so many different complex reasons to explore the world today.
Exactly. And there is clearly a lot more to explore. The text reminds fans that there are more BTS tour guides and travel tips out there if they want to find them.
The map just keeps getting bigger.
So we leave you, the listener, to decide. Think back to that travel scenario we talked about at the very beginning of the show. When you open a modern map, what are you really looking for?
Right. Are you looking for a beautiful natural landscape, or are you looking for a memory left behind by someone you admire?
Are you going to smell the green tea fields, or are you going to stand in the exact same spot?
It is a question every modern traveler has to answer for themselves.
It really is. Read through the itinerary again and ask yourself, which Jeju BTS spot would you want to visit the most and why? Thank you for listening to The Debate. Keep exploring and keep asking questions.